This musical was so adorable. I thought it was so romantic, and it was great to see an original musical that wasn't based on a book or a movie or a jukebox musical or a historical event. I haven't seen a brand new idea like this in this way that wasn't a revival since Dear Evan Hansen. And that was like 2015, I think. So that's like 9 years. And I know there has definitely been original works of theater that have been on Broadway. But just for me personally, that was the last time I saw something that wasn't what I listed before. So that was really exciting to me to see something completely brand new. Hugh Park and Will Aronson, who did the book, music, and lyrics, I mean, they just created something so magical and so fantastic. And they're not an overnight sensation. Like, this was in the works since, I mean, I think about around like 2014, 2015. I know that it premiered in Seoul, South Korea in 2016. So that's a long journey to get to Broadway, and well worth it, because I also think it is extremely timely now. The music in this show is just so pleasing to the ear. It's so beautiful. It's like the type of music that I would want to listen to if I'm going on a walk outside or something like that. It was very calming in a way. I really like that about it, but it's still highly emotional, and it really pulls you in. So I thought they did a great job with the music. The thing that makes maybe Happy Ending the most special, in my opinion, is the world building that they are able to achieve. It's the best world building I have seen on a Broadway stage in a long time. My favorite space, actually, if we're talking set pieces, is the hallway in between the two apartments of the main characters. And because there's a window, I liked looking out that window and seeing what was outside and seeing more of the world. I thought Dane Laffrey did a fantastic job working with Michael Arden to achieve this effect. George Reeve is also responsible for a lot of the video design. They don't overdo it, and it was very subtle, but incredibly effective. We visit so many places in the show that it really did get me thinking, like, how do they fit all of this backstage? That's wild to think about. The two apartments, sometimes they go side by side, and it reminded me of, I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but there's a toy from my past called Pixel Chicks. If you remember it, it was like a house. The game console was like a little house, and there would be like a digital character that would walk around and interact with the appliances, and then you could push them together with like a friend's device, and then you could go like visit your friend's digital character. So when they were going back and forth between the apartments, that's what it made me think of. And it was refreshing to see a story about robots that were they're not murderous robots here, and here they're love robots, or I don't like how that sounds. Here they're loving robots. They're genuinely well-intentioned. The helper bots' relationship to their humans really reminded me of like the toys' relationship to Andy in Toy Story. And the technology, the way that they spoke about this fictional technology. Well, is it fictional? I'm constantly seeing news about AI robotic technology. They're about to look very human, which scares me in some ways. But, you know, if they're as sweet as Claire and Oliver, I'm okay with it. But, you know, we'll see. Oliver is an older model. He's a Model 3 helper bot. And Claire is a newer model who's a Model 5. But they're not the latest and greatest. They would go back and forth. Like, Oliver would be like, yeah, I'm older, but my battery's better and more reliable. And Claire's like, yeah, but I'm more, I have more better processing power, or, you know, I have better functionality. I really felt that the helper bots in the show were real products. I was sitting there being like, oh, I would probably get a refurbished Model 3. There was an emphasis in the show on the similarities between robots and humans. They do have a shelf life like humans do. And therefore, it does give them a timeline that they are set to. I felt that the story showed these two characters learning about love in the way that humans would learn about love. And I just thought that was so special and so smart. They learned by observing. So it's so well thought out. The world is so well realized that I actually was surprised when only 4 performers walked on stage during the curtain call. I was like, no, there must be more of you. Like, that's how well realized the world felt. It felt so much bigger than the 4 actors we see on stage. who all do a fantastic job. I mean, Marcus Choi is kind of responsible for this. He plays James. His helper bot is Oliver, and he also plays a variety of other characters. Each of his characters is fairly distinct, and it just helps the world feel a lot larger. And Helen J Shen plays Claire. Welcome to Broadway, Helen. She was so fantastic. She really holds her own on stage, and I could see her leading many, many projects in the future. So I hope that they get more work off of this project. I think that would be really nice. Darren Criss, incredible robot physicality. This was very well realized too. Oliver is the older model, the older technology, so it's not as fluid in its movements than Claire's more updated, slightly newer model. So that was very well realized too. Like, you could tell that Claire was more technically advanced, whereas Oliver moved very much like a theme park animatronic. It does drop sometimes. It's a little inconsistent, but for the most part, where it is important, it's perfect. He does such a great job with that physicality, and in my opinion, does very well with a character with very limited emotional depth. He got me. In the beginning, he did have to win me over. I was not fully invested in the opening number. Something felt off. I was like, I like the music, but the energy of Darren Criss's singing just didn't really match the energy of the music, to me at least. It kind of felt like one of those things. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but if you like go to a vocal coach and they tell you to stop listening to yourself while you're singing, that's kind of what it felt like. And at points, I do think his voice was straining a bit. This is not a knock on Darren Criss's talent. With the change of season, it could just be that. I just hope that he's getting the care that he needs from the music directors and everyone on the music team to make sure that he's singing healthily. He does pull through and does do a great job. And he did win me over. He did make me feel very emotionally connected to him. But I do think that was a result of his scenes with Helen J Shen. I thought the two of them together were perfection. The chemistry between these two, really between two inanimate objects, was fantastic. I was like, I shouldn't be rooting for these robots as much as I am, but they were very, very, very cute. Dez Duron plays Gil Brentley, who is a jazz musician that Oliver listens to, and at times sings songs that the characters are listening to in the world of the show. Like, say they turn on a record player, he'll be on stage singing it. So at first I was confused, and I was like, okay, why have this performer there live if they're just going to sing songs that are essentially in the world of the story pre-recorded? But at a certain point in the show, I came to realize what I think was going on was that this character would sing the music to convey Oliver's feelings, since Oliver is an older robot and is unable to emote the complexity of falling in love as easily as Claire seems to be able to, because again, she has more nuance to her. I thought that was a really cool detail. It did feel like all of the actors really loved the story that they were telling, and that was also special to sense. And as for Tony potential, out of all of the performers, I do think that the person who is most likely to be nominated is Darren Criss. And that is because, again, his physicality was very impressive, and I thought he did a nice job. But to be honest, I think the chances are low that any of the performers actually do receive a nomination. That's not a knock on their talent. I just think, again, this is a very competitive year, especially for the category that Helen J Shen would be nominated for. I mean, that is a stacked category already. So we'll see. If that does happen, I'd be very happy. I think Helen J Shen is very deserving, but I could see maybe Happy Ending getting snubbed in that regard. I also do think that a lot of the technical and creative awards will go to maybe Happy Ending or Sunset Boulevard. We'll see how it plays out, but I feel like for those awards, these two are the heavy hitters. And as of right now, this is my winner pick for Best Musical. There are still shows that I have to see, but I would give it to maybe Happy Ending at this moment in time. Here is a view from my seat. I was front row center mezzanine. I got very lucky with the ticket. Legroom was decent. It wasn't the worst. If you want to hear about the worst legroom I've had, you can watch my review of the Louis Armstrong musical, A Wonderful World. That was painful. I said, if I could survive Studio 54's rear mezzanine, or as someone in my comments wrote back, Studio 5'4", and if you're any taller than that, don't sit in the rear mezzanine, which I thought was funny. I could survive anything if I could do that. Almost perfect view of the action. I say almost perfect because there was a very slight obstruction. If you're sitting in the front row of the mezzanine, there is a railing there. And some of the action does take place very far downstage. Not a big deal, and I was totally fine with it. However, the person sitting next to me, it did look like they were having a harder time and we're ducking under the railing to see more of it. So something to be aware of. So should you see maybe happy ending before it closes? Well, let me put it this way. It is a short 90-minute show with a great story, great music, and a great cast. And this might sway some people. The average ticket price, $45 the last time I checked. But $45. If you can get a ticket for around that price, go. Run and do it. I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So if you are a musical fan and you're just curious and want to check it out, I would do it. I'm also thinking this would be a great show to see like on a date. I wouldn't do a first date, but maybe like I feel like date number 4 and beyond is an appropriate time to see maybe happy ending, or make those plans for Valentine's Day. I think that this is a really great option for that. I hope it can get to February because I am nervous about its longevity. In my opinion, I don't think that it's being advertised particularly well. The poster, for example, when I first saw this poster and had no idea what the musical was about, I still don't like the poster, and I don't blame the graphic designers. I think that the creative team kind of dropped the ball when it came to that. Musical posters are meant to be intriguing and meant to get you in the theater. Let me know in the comments if it worked for you. I just thought that they could have done better. I mean, after seeing the show, I understand the poster now more, but I feel like it should be the other way around. And I also was thinking, did you know that it was a love story between robots if you've seen maybe Happy Ending already? Because I saw a commercial for it, and that's how I figured out what it was about. And I wonder if that'll be off-putting to some people. I had this thought of like, maybe the robot aspect may have been better if it was a twist, like where you get to the theater and you realize, oh, they're robots. But I go back and forth on that. I mean, theater capacity, when I looked at it, was okay. Not the best. I'm hoping they can get in the 9s in the next few weeks, especially with word of mouth. Is there anything you would have done to advertise the show differently, or do you think they're doing a great job advertising it? If it does sound like something that you are interested in and you are able to see it, go do it. I think you're going to have a great time. Those are my thoughts on Maybe Happy Ending, now playing at the Belasco Theater. I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section below. I would also very much appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to check out some of my other reviews and theater-related content on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay off your phones while at the theater.